What's going on, people? Mike C-Town here. Happy Metal Monday. So people seem to enjoy the first Metal Monday video, so I'm going to keep doing these. I'm going to stick with the format that I have going, which is talking/reviewing a newer metal album and then talking about an older metal album that I really enjoy. So starting off, I'm going to talk about the new album by Thulcandra called Ascension Lost. When I think of black and death metal, the first band that comes to mind is easily Dissection. You know, I feel like anyone that's familiar with the genre would say the exact same thing. Dissection weren't necessarily the creators of the genre, but they were the band that, in most people's opinion, perfected the sound. Storm of the Light's Bane was to black and death metal what At the Gate Slaughter of the Soul was to melodic death metal. Now, you might think it's kind of fucked up that I'm starting off a review of the new album by Thulcandra by first briefly discussing Dissection, but if you've listened to anything by Thulcandra, you know why. Thulcandra is admitted Dissection worship. You know, if they were to tell you that they've never heard the band Dissection, I'd petition them to be taken out in the street and stoned for being liars. That said, there's no better band to take immense influence from than Dissection. But here's the thing, on past albums, I'd easily argue that Thulcandra sounded more like Dissection then than they do on Ascension Lost. Fallen Angels Dominion was pretty much a copy-paste job of a Dissection album. But on the new album, they still have that Dissection style in the guitar work and the drum patterns, you know, in the vocal style and the overall atmosphere of the music, but it seems like they've tweaked a few things here and there to make their sound just a little bit different. I haven't quite put my finger on exactly what it is though. But this album isn't painfully original. Even taking away the Dissection worship, Thulcandra isn't really recreating the wheel here. In fact, like, the ideas that they put out on this album are a bit generic, but with music, I fully feel like you don't always have to be totally original with everything. I think you can make it if you just play what you're playing very well. And that's what Thulcandra does here. The riffs are totally on point, the drumming is fantastic, the vocals are powerful, and they fit perfectly with everything else. And essentially that's all I really need for a good metal record, you know, playing what they're playing well. But what would make this a better metal record would be maybe feeling a bit more passion in it, you know? What sets bands apart within the black and death metal genre? Bands like Dissection or Behemoth or Angel Corpse or Dawn. What sets them apart was they had feeling in their riffs, in their sound. Their music went past technical proficiency. It had feeling. You pulled something out of those songs more than just, you know, headbanging. When the first song on Dawn Slaughter Son, the song The Knell in the World, starts, you feel like the world is on fire and imploding. With this, while I definitely enjoy the songs, I'm not getting that passion or that feeling from these songs. I'm just getting great metal songs. The way Ascension Lost starts with the song The First Rebellion, even ignoring the fact that it reminds a lot of Night's Blood, this was a great start to the record, and it's a killer track. Then there are songs like Deliverance and Sin and Death, which have great guitar melodies, awesome leads, and just overall great song structure. But you also have songs like Throne of Will and Exalted Resistance, and those songs just sound a bit corny and kind of empty sounding. With the exception of a few acoustic passages, the band doesn't really seem to tread any new territory. It just seems to be another album to drop in their catalog. You know, it's great, but nothing special. All in all, though, the more I listen to it, the more I actually enjoy it. You know, I think it definitely does Dissection better than Dissection did Dissection on Reign Chaos. But if you're looking for something original in metal, I'd suggest skipping over this one because, you know, you've heard this album before. But if you've been dying for a new Dissection record since the band was forced to stop making records because John unfortunately committed suicide, then pick this up. I feel like you'll be happy with the purchase. So the next record I'm going to talk about is the album Thunderbeast by the band Nightingales. So this is an album that I've been listening to a lot lately. I still remember discovering this back in the late 90s when I was first finding out about this style of metal. Nightingales is a melodic death metal band from Germany. I discovered them back when I was falling in love with bands like In Flames and Dark Tranquillity and Eucharist and Dismember and At the Gates. But to me, these guys always stood out like a sore thumb, but in a really cool way. Their song structures were always a bit different from the other melodic metal bands at that time, and that was something that was immediately noticeable from the moment you put on Thunderbeast. There weren't a bunch of flashy guitars, they weren't just fast for the sake of being fast. They had great riffs with almost a rock and roll attitude and feel to the music. The production was super clean. The drums were crystal clear, the guitars sounded thick, and they had this great classic Gothenburg sound to them, and those rad Iron Maiden, Thin Lizzy dueling guitar moments. The vocals were perfect in the mix and sounded nicely layered. Thunderbeast quickly became one of my favorite melodic death metal albums. But once I read their lyrics, everything took a new turn. Bjorn, the singer, has some of the most bizarre and whacked out lyrics, man. There's no way to tell what the fuck they're about because they seem to be about laying out some kind of weird story using a bunch of made up words and phrases. For instance, Psychonaut of the dark zone we are, a horror horde born of a fatal formula, crippled and crowned, we strike the harp with crystal strings, razor sharp. What the fuck does that mean? Of star thieves and black flesh bastards I tell, about the day when war-fed lilies fell, to dare the dance of the night blades, to conquer and kill the sky slaves. Dude, this shit don't make any fucking sense. It's all like some weird sci-fi movie set to music. But even though it's totally weird content-wise, it's a nice break from the typical metal lyrics about Satan, or blood and gore, or this pseudo-philosophical nonsense. You know, instead we get lyrics that seem to be about a place in another world, which is totally fine with me. But even though I have no idea what the hell the lyrics are about, the music is just so goddamn good. The riffs are so well played and well written that the songs become immediately incredibly infectious. So much that you can't help singing along, man. Like even on first listen, that chorus of the first song, Intruder, it totally gets stuck in your head. Intruder, intruder, the dust crowned shores. Or when you get to the title track, Thunderbeast, that riff when the chorus comes in is so goddamn good that you can't help but scream, I am the Thunderbeast. This is a band that I think was unfairly ignored and totally left behind. Over the course of their careers, I really think that they were doing something with melodic metal that was totally different than any other band. And for some reason, it just didn't catch on. But this record in particular was the beginning of the tightening of that melodeath mixed with rock and roll sound that they had. And I feel it definitely holds up against classic albums like Jester Race or The Gallery or Like an Ever-Flowing Stream. And if any of those albums are your cup of tea, I definitely suggest you grab a copy of this album. It's unique, it's original, and it's just done super well. So that's it for this Metal Monday. I hope you guys are still enjoying these. If you are, I'll keep doing them because I kind of enjoy talking about metal. But yeah, as usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you, and I will see you guys next time. Alright? Peace, bitches!